Rubies for a Dog, Part 3. And we tried, many of us, to point out to Azad Bark that the ruby was excessively distracting, but would he listen? He began to suspect that we had our eyes on the ruby, that we wanted it for ourselves. Even that we were jealous of this inanimate stone. It was almost as if, God forgive me and cast dust in my mouth, but it must be said, it was almost as if Azad Bark had begun to worship it. He could not bear to be without it. He would abandon meetings with important emissaries in order to have a quick peep at the stone. He would hold up vital proceedings to show off the gem to state visitors. Inevitably, one day matters went too far. A neighboring king was visiting to ask for Azad Bark's support in a war against another king. The battle was a personal one, and Azad Bark would never have agreed in the normal course of affairs because this third king has always been faithful to us. But the visiting king saw his chance and seized it when Azad Bark flaunted the ruby to him, and in tones at once awed and arrogant, demanded, "Tell me, have you such a jewel in your possession?" Well, from then on they talked of nothing but the great gems of the world and how this ruby must be among the greatest. Before the meeting had ended, the clever visitor had procured Azad Bark's help to fight his personal battle, our forces for his battle against a king who had never done us harm. Well, it was too much to stand by and accept. The king left, knowing he had outmaneuvered our young emperor. It would be terrible for his reputation. That night when I went into the streets, the story had already got around. The people are forgiving, Samira, but not when their lives and their beloved country are at stake. They talked that night, talked to shame the bones of an old servant like me. Azad Bark may be young, they said, but we've had boy emperors before now who have brought great glory to the land. Little do they know, a boy emperor is more likely to achieve glory than a young man, for his ego is not yet full-blown and his ears more open to the wisdom of older men. I knew that night that I must tell the emperor as bluntly as possible how the ruby was affecting him, that he must put his passion in perspective or he would do himself and his empire dreadful harm. That night, alone with Azad Bark in his bedchamber and after all the courtiers had left, I had my chance to speak. I admit I was nervous, but the Wazir is the servant of the emperor, and the emperor of the state, and the state of the people, and the people of God. So you see, I was at the bottom of a long chain. Soft words and gentle advice had no effect on Azad Bark, and, I don't know, I suppose it was partly the anger of hearing my emperor criticized, partly the humiliation of withdrawing our word to the visiting king, partly my own earlier failure, but my blood was boiling and nothing drives a man to greater risk than simmering rage. Well, whatever it was that night, it drove me to an action that has reduced me to this. To be continued. Watch part 4 to know what happened next. Please like, share and subscribe for more videos.